Welcome back, everybody. We are starting round 4 here at D20 Gaming LLC in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I'm Max Crandall, joined by Eric Volkers for commentary.
We're going to start round 4 here. We actually have a correction from the prior round. Player 2 actually won. I guess they copied a couple of commanders, right?
Yep. The Mirage Mare turned into an Edgar Markov, and the teammate copied Edgar Markov as well, and they swung in for the lethal 8 damage.
So now we're looking at table 1 here in round 4. I believe we have 3 teams tied at 7 points going into the top 4 is what we're going to be cutting to.
And 2 of them are playing right now.
Beautiful.
So on the bottom of your screen you have I Want a Chromatic Lantern. They are playing Oloro and Teferi. So this is your combo control team. Against player 2 again, playing Muzzio and Oona.
Some early ramp from the Storm Teferi combo player. Looks like a Grim Monolith there. Classic.
Very classic. Great card. Probably some of the best fast mana you can do in 1v1 commander since Soul Ring and all the mana vaults and crypts are banned.
Absolutely. There's not quite as many options. We're going to see the teams deciding what they want to do. We know that from watching in prior rounds, this blue team, when I talked to them in between rounds, they said that they kind of like to do their own thing. Mill is obviously part of the goal of our upper right-hand player there. He likes to get a couple mill cards going, get a few of the good cards turned out of the library, while the other player kind of sets up.
Yeah. I think this matchup is really interesting with the Oloro. Giving I Want a Chromatic Lantern 2 life at every upkeep is going to be hard for team player 2 to keep up with, I think, especially after what we saw them go through last round, having to copy the opposing team's commander, Edgar Markov, just to get the damage through.
Really snowballs quick, and then we got a lot of mana being tapped here. That Grim Monolith ramp, you know, for every mana you get, that's like an extra turn there. So we're going to see quite access to 6 mana here for the Storm player. It looks like he's going to be using it. And on an empty board, Teferi's going to come down, but get negated.
Yep.
Ouch. So he's going to have to try and get that Grim Monolith untapped, maybe take a turn off. Luckily, they're not under a ton of pressure yet.
And I think the player 2 on I Want a Chromatic Lantern just dropped Aristic Study. So there's some card draw for the team. And for those watching, Chris Degner of Commander Central, one of my co-hosts, is actually on team I Want a Commander Central. I Want Chromatic Lantern. Hey, look at that.
So, he's the bottom right-hand corner, I believe we got. He's playing on the Mox mat.
Yep.
He's carefully observing what our opponent is laying out here. His opponent is laying out.
Did he just dump a Darksteel Juggernaut?
Woo! Yep. Make sure you understand it. Resolves. I think I got a foil snow-covered island. I should try and hit up Nate here and sell it to him.
Oh, I'm sure he would take it. That deck is his baby.
He's been trying to hit me up for foil Tron pieces for at least the last 2-3 weeks. Another land, up to 47 already, as that life gain is definitely making a difference here. We know that player 2 is a slow, grindier matchup.
Yes.
Usually they're pretty slow, and even that life gain, I really like that mono red matchup. I'm sure that is helpful.
It must be. They actually faced that mono red team we saw in round 2 in the prior round before this, and it was they went to turns. They went to 5 turns after the match ended, and
so it ended in a draw.
It ended in a draw, and you know the Teferi player did a lot of digging on turn 5 when it went to rounds, and he just couldn't find the piece.
Absolutely. Looks like we're going to be passing back over here. Plenty of mana there for the Storm player as he laid out a couple more rocks for himself.
Looks like a Fellar Stone and a Star Compass.
Still not a lot of board presence for either of our players on the left side of the screen. Fraying Sanity, eh? That's a good one. That's a newer one from our mill deck. Yep. I believe it's however many cards are put into the live or put into your graveyard that turn you mill that many more.
At your end step. That is correct.
Ouch.
Well, it might be the smart play to put on the Oloro player because he's the one who's going to have the removal, like the Path to Exile, the Swords to Plowshares, and most of the fetch lands because he's playing 3 colors. So,
and I suppose that when the Teferi player is storming off, when he puts all those cards into his graveyard, you're probably going to be over that turn. So letting him move to his end step and then milling a bunch probably isn't effective because he's going to win before his end step.
Right. Oh, looks like they tried to remove that Fraying Sanity and a counter spell happened there.
The spell Shrivel, going to make him pay a few more.
But he did get the Rhystic Study trigger, it looks like, off of it.
Beautiful.
Tapping some more mana to lay down a Wall of Omens.
Yeah, a little blocker, draw a card. Chris had said his goal was to keep him alive until his Storm player could storm off, so that's one card that'll do it. Put a big butt on the battlefield, as we like to say.
And, you know, if Oloro does hit the battlefield, he does a lot of work gaining that 2 life. You spend a mana and drain your opponents for 1 life, and you get to draw that extra card. Just the value he's going to be getting eventually off of Oloro. And if Rhystic Study sticks around, he's going to have that card draw engine in place.
What's Oloro's abilities?
He has essentially Eminence. It wasn't labeled Eminence back in Commander 13. It's when he's in the command zone, you gain 2 life at your upkeep, and then you still gain the 2 life when he's on the battlefield, but whenever you gain life, you may pay 1 generic mana to ping your opponents for a life, and you draw a card.
Gotcha.
And it looks like a Niv Disc was attempted to be cast, and it was force-willed by I Want a Chromatic Lantern.
Look at that, a legacy staple coming out here in our 2-headed giant commander series. And it looks like, is that a Jace being played?
That is a Jace Memory Adept. So that's the mill 10 for 0, I think.
Mill 10 for 0.
Let's just confirm that. You know, this technology these days.
Yeah, we'll look it up quick for you guys at home. Can't quite read the text. I like when I was talking to player 2, I like their attitude. We're just going to kind of go out and do our thing. Our decks kind of synergize with each other, and we're just going to go out, and they've been having a lot of success today. I believe they're 2-0-1 going into this 4th round here.
That's excellent. Yep, and I was correct. The Jace Memory Adept does target player mills 10 for his 0 activation cost.
Ouch, so with Fraying Sanity out there.
There's another 10 going in your bin, and it looks like they milled the Oloro player.
Good choice with that Fraying Sanity on there.
Right, it's just synergy.
If in Commander, if they mill out one of these guys, does that
I believe it will lose the game because the teammate cannot draw a card.
That is interesting. Doesn't matter how much life you have if you can't draw cards.
But getting rid of 99 cards is a lot harder than getting rid of 60.
Yeah, or getting rid of 100 cards or 93 cards is a lot harder than getting 40 damage a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
You basically almost doubled their life total.
Yep, and I'm thinking neither of these decks are going to be aiming for the commander damage like they were last round.
Absolutely.
Both of these seem pretty control or combo centric.
Absolutely.
So it's just who finds their piece first, and let's keep tuned here.
And you got to be afraid of the Teferi player at any time. He's got a couple mana rocks out now. He's got access to that good mana, and here we see lots of tapping, and Teferi's going to come back in.
Yep. And the opposing player 2 being tapped out, this is a great time to do it.
Absolutely. Take your opportunity now.
He untaps that Grim Monolith.
Good choice. Could we see Nate go off this turn?
I don't know if he has all of his pieces left. Let me bring up what Teferi does for our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't know, except I know his ult lets you activate Planeswalker abilities at instant speed on other people's turns, I believe.
Ooh, baby. We see Chris lining up his lands. I see a Damnation in his hand. That could be good if... Is it Oona, I believe, right, is on our other side here for player 2?
Yes.
We can make quite a few fairy tokens, I believe, with Oona, right?
I believe that is correct.
So a Damnation could be very helpful to clean everything up.
So, Teferi, Temporal Archmage, his +1 is look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one in your hand and the other on the bottom, so we're not quite anticipating.
Yep. Still filtering, though.
Yes. His -1 is untap up to 4 target permanents.
That's solid.
There we go. And his alt at -10 is get an emblem with you activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control on any player's turn at any time you could cast an instant. So when he's facing down 2 decks with not a lot of creatures on the board right now, it's really just a race between getting Teferi up to 10, or do you just keep using his -1 to untap those mana rocks, especially that Grim Monolith, so he doesn't have to sack mana into it?
Absolutely, and we're going to see a glimmer here. Once again, that energy mechanic coming back. We see it again.
I don't know if he has any other cards that synergize with the energy, but...
He's not even putting the counter out for it, so...
But scry 2, draw 2, gain 2 energy is pretty good for 4 mana.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. No damage being dealt yet directly. I think we had a couple incidental lands being tapped possibly for some damage, but still going back and forth here. Not a whole lot of creatures going to be moving into the red zone, at least early on in this game.
Right.
A Gisela coming down.
Of the Broken Blade. Very efficient creature, 4 mana, flying lifelink, so it just helps pad that life total.
Absolutely. 4/3, beats down really well. I've seen a couple decks pop up in Legacy running Gisela.
Really?
Absolutely. I actually, I have 2 Legacy decks together. One, I play basic like U-White Stoneblade,
okay.
Right? My other one that I've been putting is that Soldier Stompy, and I was really happy to see that at last week's Star City Games event, I saw some of the top tables an 8 and 2 player playing with the Soldiers deck, basically abusing Winter Orb and a bunch of cost reduction spells for your soldiers to be able to flood the field. You play Chalice to shut down a lot of decks there. Most of your creatures are can synergize well with the other soldiers to create more soldiers, so you basically get up on them, lock the board down with a Winter Orb, and kind of finish the game off that way.
That sounds intense. I'll probably have to check that out.
A lot of fun. We'll have to jam some matches sometime. And it looks like we got some shuffling going on.
More mill, maybe?
More mill. Is that a King of Raskos? Breskos? What's the cat?
Bramaz, King of Areskos,
Bramaz,
yes.
Yep. That's in the bin.
Yep, looks like they activated Jace again. Now they're looking through the graveyard. Maybe trying to piece together what could possibly still be available in Chris's deck.
Absolutely. Before too long, we might get a count here for what's in Chris's deck. Because he has to be... I mean, he's hit a couple of Fraying Sanity triggers.
I mean, milling 20 every turn is no fun. He needs to find some sort of removal for that Fraying Sanity pretty fast, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And Nate gets to sit there and watch Chris just mill.
Right?
That must be a lot of fun.
It's kind of like the roles are reversed. Chris is usually the support player in this team and kind of just pads the life total, has the black-white removal to deal with any creature-type threats, and just is there so Nate can do his magic and move forward. Oh, yep.
Yep.
Floating a bunch of mana.
Maybe this is the turn we see him kind of go in on it.
He just floated 5?
All right. Ooh, is that Academy Runes, I think?
Drew 3.
All right, we're going to see a couple more cards. 3 cards.
Just more cycling through that deck.
Oh, there's one. Foil Snow-Covered Island. He likes them. He's got the blood is in the water. I'm going to sell one to him.
There you go.
Hit him up for $10. Maybe I can go get lunch then.
Oh, that's not provided?
That's not provided. Oh.
No, nobody told me that.
You told me you were buying me lunch today. I would have never have agreed to this.
I'm done. Nate marking, I think, his mana pool, I think, is what he just wrote down on that boogie board, just to keep track of all the mana floating in his pool, because he does get to some high numbers in a turn.
Absolutely. I haven't seen High Tide from this deck. Do you know if he plays that?
I'm sure it is in there. I have not seen it in the games he has played so far. He does run Paradox Engine.
Oh,
and that is a key piece to his plan.
Absolutely. I remember when the set first came out, it was the Aether Revolt that has that
yes.
in there. I purposely grabbed a couple copies of that and sat on it, and has risen nicely.
Yeah.
That is one of the cards that I feel could very easily be broken with any new set that comes out.
Yes, it is definitely already a pretty broken card to begin with. It just needs that one more piece just to go off, I think.
Yeah, it's already incredibly powerful. I would recommend probably getting copies if you want one before before you let too much time go on, because that one is definitely a powerhouse. See Nate doing some more deciding. Sometimes the turns on this Storm deck can take quite some time. Chris gets to just sit there, watch, enjoy some Magic.
Yep.
A day of just chillaxing, playing a couple of big butts on his side, couple life gain creatures. Chris isn't a very good player, we don't think, from our numerous games, so
I mean,
just give him a deck where he can plop out a couple big butts and then just kind of sit there and enjoy himself.
Yep.
Pick his nose a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, be just a big dork.
Nate definitely puts the work in this team, and
his back has to hurt, right?
Has to.
I don't see any way that Chris can even win a game, really. Oloro's pings are so slow, right?
Yeah, I mean, our listeners at least definitely know Chris slacks off a little, so.
And we love Chris. We're just giving him a hard time.
Oh yeah, we have to.
We're gonna see Grim Monolith. Is that a Coalition relic being played, I believe?
That is a Coalition relic. Oh, more card draw.
Let's see some more cards.
Probably more filtering. He'll put right to the hand, discard a couple lands.
Checks it out to the bin. Tapped out here. Still not a lot of pressure on Nate, but he does have to worry about his partner over there getting milled out. Looks like he's going to give a quick count to the graveyard, see what all is in there. Probably not a terrible thing to be cognizant of here. How many turns do you actually have if you're milling 20 a turn? You know what I mean? That
5?
puts you on a clock.
Not even 5?
Are they going to be able to pass the turn here and hope to untap? I think it looks like he's still got a little pile there.
He probably has at least one more turn to go. I think if they can't deal with that Jace in this turn or the next, Chris's deck is gone.
Yeah. And it looks like Nate hopefully is setting up to try and go off next turn. They're going to pass it back to player 2 as they untap, play a land, going to activate Jace, target Chris, and we're going to see 10 cards go right here. Feels good, I bet. Strix, land, Supreme Verdict in there, O-Ring, and a Dimir Signet, it looks like, among others.
Right now, I think the key pieces Chris are looking for is something like an Anguished Unmaking to exile that enchantment that's milling him at his end step, just because it needs to go away, and putting it in exile definitely means it's not coming back.
You almost need you almost need to remove the Fraying Sanity and the Jace at this point. You are so low on your deck, and I saw that the O-Ring got milled over from Chris, so I'm not sure what answers he has left.
Yeah, I mean, the Banishing Light is already on another key mill piece, I think. That was cheated out by him exiling that Darksteel Juggernaut. Not quite sure what that card is, though.
See Ghostly Prison in there. See Sphinx's Rev.
See, and I definitely know there are the key pieces like Ghostly Prison and Propaganda in Chris's deck. That's kind of how they built it, because currently the way the rules work are they have to pay it for whoever, no matter which player they attack.
Yep.
So, cheap enchantments out of Chris's deck protects Nate and allows him to combo off a lot faster.
Absolutely. Is his library gone? Where is it?
I think he cracked a Polluted Delta. I think that's what's
searching
on top of his library right now.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely get in a precarious situation. Whenever Mill does well, it always makes me a little giggly. Almost.
Me too.
One of those cheese strategies that none of us ever give real credence to.
No.
But here we see Chris can't stop it. You know what I mean? And you need two answers almost. You got to answer a permanent enchantment and a planeswalker. It's not easy.
Right.
Maybe getting this type of prison, this Mill prison almost set up, might be a good strategy that the Storm player has taken so long to go off. I think that's almost what needed to happen, was we needed a quick Storm hand for these guys to take it, but if they're just going to let the mill happen, then doesn't take too long with that Fraying Sanity, huh?
No, not at all.
Definitely carrying a large workload here.
Looks like Nate and Chris are discussing something. Chris still has his library in his hand, trying to figure out what he needs to be looking for at this point. Oh, nope.
Yeah, he's pointing. Look at him point to Snapcaster. Is that who he's pointing to?
Maybe.
He's got plenty of options in his graveyard. Can he Snapcaster back? I wonder if Anguished Unmaking is in there.
Where did his deck go? Is he milled out? Are they trying to prevent?
Are they?
That might be his deck. I think he's milled out. They're trying to prevent him from having to draw a card. And at this point,
I mean, just pass the turn, right? And let him.
Not even cast something for 1 mana. Is a Ristic Study a mate clause? I think it is. Otherwise, they're done. Because if they don't pay the Ristic Study task, and if it's not a May, Chris has to draw a card and he loses.
Ouch.
We'll confirm that right now. I'm pretty sure it's a May. I mean, it is a Commander staple. I should know this.
It doesn't matter how much you look at your deck, Chris. You're looking for the answers, the jitte, the equipment. Look at him point to it, showing the camera.
That's an Elixir of Immortality. That's what he needs.
What's Elixir of Immortality?
Elixir of Immortality is an artifact that you can pay 1 and sacrifice it and shuffle your graveyard into your library, and you gain 5 life.
Ooh.
So
he's probably not packing any Eldrazi Titans or a Gaia's Blessing that's green.
And they scooped it up because the mill won it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We've seen some crazy stuff today, but that might be the craziest.
That might be the craziest. That means there was no draw in this round, so that means player 2 might be in for sure going into the top 4.
That's going to put them at 10 points, so they're for sure basically locked into our top 4 moving on here.
So they can draw into the top 4. Depending on how, I think Balls Deep was the other 7-point team.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on how they do in this round, we'll figure out who essentially is going to be our 4th team in the top 4. I don't see I Want a Chromatic Lantern having any issue having to draw into it as well, depending on who they get paired up next round, but we will definitely be reporting the standings here after round 4, giving you guys an update on where the seedings are and if the top 4 might just happen. It might just be one of those that everybody can draw in.
Absolutely. Once again, Scrybabies Gaming, Commander Central. We're here, Max Crandall, Eric Volkers, bringing you this Commander action from D20 Gaming LLC. We're going to go ahead and take a little break before the next round, get our players out, shuffled up, get our new players in, shuffled up, and then get back to the action. We will be right back.